Over the past 25 years, I've installed hundreds of landscapes. I've seen plants that look gorgeous at the nursery only to look terrible after one season. But I've also discovered plants that show up year after year, regardless of the weather. Today, I'm sharing my 10 proven performers plants I use every single time I design a landscape. These aren't trendy plants. These are timeless workhorses that perform reliably, season after season. If you want to know which plants will actually transform your landscape and keep performing without constant maintenance, stick around. A lot of you watched my video on plants I'll never use, and it clearly struck a nerve. But here's the thing: for every plant I've marked off my list, there's a plant I keep coming back to. We're looking at plants that are drought-tolerant, deer-resistant, disease-resistant, and tough as nails. These are the real MVPs of landscaping. Let's get into it. Number 1. Knockout Rose. Rosa Radra's no landscaper I know would argue with this one. Before knockout roses came out in 2000, roses were a maintenance nightmare. I'd get calls every 2 weeks from clients asking why their roses looked so bad. They were constantly spraying for black spot, aphids, and rust. Knockouts completely changed everything. Here's what makes this plant number 1. It blooms from spring until first frost. I've had clients call me in November saying their knockouts were still blooming. It's disease-resistant, drought-tolerant once established, and in most areas, deer-resistant. You get red, pink, coral, and yellow flowers, and the plant tops out around 4 feet tall, making it perfect for foundation plantings. Pro tip: plant it in full sun, give it well-draining soil, and step back. I've used this in dozens of landscapes, and it's never let me down. Number 2. Liriope muscari. This is one of my absolute workhorses, and a lot of homeowners don't even know its name. I use this as a border plant, ground cover, and edging plant. What makes it valuable is its flexibility. It's evergreen in zone 6 and warmer. It tolerates full sun to full shade. I've put this in spots where almost nothing else will grow. It handles drought like a champion. It handles heat, and it produces beautiful purple flower spikes in late summer that most people don't expect. That's bonus seasonal interest. Pro tip: in late winter to early spring, prune this back to 4 inches above ground. It'll look rough for 2 to 4 weeks, but it'll flush back out beautifully. This one pruning makes all the difference in how good this plant looks all season. Number 2. Liriope muscari. This is one of my absolute workhorses, and a lot of homeowners don't even know its name. I use this as a border plant, ground cover, and edging plant. What makes it valuable is its flexibility. It's evergreen in zone 6 and warmer. It tolerates full sun to full shade. I've put this in spots where almost nothing else will grow. It handles drought like a champion. It handles heat, and it produces beautiful purple flower spikes in late summer that most people don't expect. That's bonus seasonal interest. Pro tip: in late winter to early spring, prune this back to 4 inches above ground. It'll look rough for 2 to 4 weeks, but it'll flush back out beautifully. This one pruning makes all the difference in how good this plant looks all season. Number 3. Tea Olive Osmanthus fragrans. This is a plant I genuinely get excited talking about. If you've walked by one in full bloom, you understand immediately why tea olive isn't widely known outside the Southeast. But in zones 7 through 11, it's one of the most rewarding plants you can install. Here's what special people don't fall in love with this plant because of how it looks. They fall in love with the fragrance. The flowers are tiny, creamy white clusters tucked into the foliage. You'd never pick it out based on appearance alone. But the fragrance carries 30, 40, sometimes 50 feet from the plant. It smells sweet, almost apricot-like, and literally stops people in their tracks. What makes tea olive valuable in landscape design is timing. It flowers in fall, winter, and early spring, when most other plants are dormant. You're getting fragrance when everything else is asleep. That's the kind of off-season interest I'm always looking for. It's an evergreen shrub with glossy, dark leaves and dense habits. It grows 10 to 15 feet tall and 6 to 10 feet wide. I use it as a privacy screen, backdrop, or specimen near entries and patios where people appreciate the fragrance. Real talk: if you live in its growing zone and don't have tea olive, plant one. You just need one, and your whole yard will be enveloped in fragrance. Number 4. Oak leaf holly ilex X-leaf. This is one of the most underappreciated evergreen screening plants available. When people think of holly, they picture stiff, formal hedges trimmed into boxes. That's not what we're talking about. Oakleaf holly has a naturally elegant, slightly open habit. It grows 8 to 10 feet tall and 5 to 6 feet wide. You get glossy, dark green foliage and an incredible crop of red berries in fall and winter that lights up the landscape. In winter, when everything's dormant, this plant puts on a show. What makes this plant earn a permanent spot in my rotation is its ability to adapt full sun to part shade. It handles both. Clay soils, it handles those too. It's hardy zones 5 through 9 and one of the most pest and disease-resistant hollies I've grown. I use this as a screen, as a background for lower plants, and in winter it becomes a wildlife attractant. Robins, cedar waxwings, even cardinals feed on the berries. It's doing double duty looking beautiful while feeding wildlife. Real talk, oakleaf holly is one of the most underutilized shrubs in American landscapes. People overlook it, but it's a true performer. Number 5. Camellia. Camellia japonica and Camellia sasanqua. Here's a plant people have used for centuries, and for good reason. If you've never grown camellia, here's what makes it special: it blooms in winter. Not spring, not summer, not fall, the middle of winter. When your entire landscape is dormant and brown, you can have this shrub covered in full, lush, rose-like flowers. That's extraordinary. There are 2 species you need to know. Camellia sasanqua blooms in fall, October through December. Camellia japonica picks up after blooming January through March. Plant both together, and you have flowers from late fall through early spring. That's 5 months of continuous blooms. Flowers come in single, semi-double, and formal double varieties. Colors include reds, pinks, whites, lavenders, and combinations. You've got plenty of options. Now, cold hardiness. Traditionally, zones 7 through 9. However, breeding programs have introduced cultivars hardy into zone 6. Varieties like April Kiss and Winter Star are pushing zone 6 boundaries. Culturally, camellias want acidic, well-drained soil similar to azaleas, pH between 5.5 and 6.5. They have shallow roots, so mulching is essential. 3 inches of pine bark or pine straw is recommended. This protects roots and holds moisture. Sun exposure depends on species. Sasanqua takes more sun than japonica, but both prefer part sun. 4 to 6 hours of morning sunlight is ideal. Here's important: camellias are slow growers, but long-lived, 1 to 2 feet per year, but they often live 75 to 100 years. That changes how I talk about camellias. This is an investment plant for your property. You're planting for yourself and future homeowners. Number 6. Black-eyed Susan Rudbeckia, Fulgida goldsturm. This native perennial is special for one reason. It blooms mid to late summer, exactly when early spring perennials fade. If you think about sequence of bloom, Black-eyed Susan fills the summer gap beautifully. Goldsturm stays compact at 2 feet tall and 2 feet wide. It produces spectacular golden yellow daisy flowers with deep dark centers for 4 to 6 weeks. That's long by perennial standards. This is full sun and extremely drought tolerant once established. Pro tip: leave seed heads up in winter. American goldfinches and other birds feed on them. Black-eyed Susan keeps giving even after flowers are gone. Number 7. Spirea, modern varieties. I am talking about modern varieties like double play candy corn. There's double play gold, magic carpet, and little princess. These deciduous shrubs stay 2 to 3 feet tall, and they're some of the most versatile I've worked with. Here's what separates newer varieties from old ones: multi-season color. Double play gold and candy corn come out in spring with electric gold foliage, almost neon yellow. Then they transition to lime green in summer with pink flowers. They pick up red and orange tones in fall. That's 3 seasons of interest in one plant. This plant is extremely cold, tolerant, USEDA zones 3 through 9, so it grows far north. They handle heat, cold, and drought once established. Pro tip: if they get leggy, shear them back by 1/3 in midsummer. They'll flush back with fresh growth. Great for foundation plantings or mass plantings. One of the most adaptable shrubs in the trade. Number 8. Snowball viburnum, Viburnum macrophyllum. This doesn't look like much in late winter, but in spring, it's a complete showcase. I have people pull over asking, what plant is that? This is a showstopper. What you're looking at is Chinese snowball viburnum. The flower heads are unlike anything else in a landscape. Pure white, globe-shaped clusters, perfectly round. They reach 6 to 8 inches in diameter. The shrub covers itself in flowers every spring. The effect is almost unreal-like, a decorated tree with white ornaments. Viburnum macrophyllum gets 10 to 12 feet tall and is hardy zones 6 through 9. It prefers full sun to part shade. It's semi-evergreen to deciduous, depending on your winter. Important: this is a specimen plant. Place it where you want people to look. Short bloom period only, 3 to 4 weeks. Not a repeat bloomer, but when it's in full bloom, nothing outperforms it. Number 9. Lavender Lavandula angustifolia. People have used this for centuries. English lavender is what I reach for. Varieties like Hidcote, Munstead, and Phenomenal. Phenomenal is more heat and humidity tolerant than older varieties, which matters in mid-Atlantic and southeastern states. Here's what lavender brings: flower color, pollinator attraction, and deer resistance. I've had clients tell me they walk out their door just to smell lavender. That emotional connection is priceless. Full sun and well-drained soils are non-negotiable. In wet soils, lavender declines. But in right conditions, well-drained soil, 6+ hours of sun. Zones 5 through 8 remarkably tough and long-lived. Number 10. Encore azalea. This changed how I use azaleas. If you wonder why traditional azaleas only look good for 2 or 3 weeks in spring, this is a game changer. Traditional azaleas are one and done. They bloom in early spring, then look like a green blob for 50 weeks. That bothered me. A shrub needs to earn its space more than 2 weeks yearly. Encore azaleas flower multiple times per year. You get a spring flush, summer flush, and fall flush. 3 blooming seasons in 1 year. That's revolutionary compared to traditional azaleas. Important: encores need more sun than traditional azaleas, around 6 hours compared to 4 hours max. Less sun means only spring blooms, missing summer and fall. Give them morning to early afternoon sun with afternoon shade, and they perform excellently. Variety selection is excellent. Compact forms stay 2 to 3 feet like autumn coral and autumn rouge. Larger varieties reach 4 to 5 feet like autumn empress and autumn monarch. Colors range white to salmon to deep red to purple. Mix 2 or 3 varieties in the same bed for continuous color through all 3 cycles. Encores are evergreen, hardy zones 6 through 10, and like slightly acidic soil. If pH is off, you'll see yellow leaves with green veins. Add sulfur to the root zone to lower pH and make azaleas happier. Encores look great as foundation, border, or mass plantings. Wherever you'd use traditional azalea, use Encore. But bonus you get 3 bloom cycles instead of 1. If I choose between traditional and Encore, it's not even a question. Give me 3 bloom cycles. There you have it, my top 10 plants. But here's one last thought, tying everything together. All these plants are high output but low input. These aren't fussy plants demanding constant attention. These are investments standing the test of time. They perform reliably year after year with minimal maintenance. That's what separates great plants from just okay plants. Thank you for watching. If this helped, please like and subscribe. Comment below. What's your favorite plant you keep coming back to? I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, happy planting.